Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Welcome. You can't pretend like this is church. Sit in the back.
Is this be the first time I've been in church then? Yeah, he's,
And Tim isn't gonna be here, correct, Scott?
I'm sorry?
Tim's not gonna be
He
here?
is not gonna be
Okay.
here.
hi there.
Why don't you sit over here where Tim is?
Okay.
I'm not sure about it.
They like to keep me by myself.
Yes.
How you doing? I'm Ron. Sure, we're gonna log in, then hit Control Alt Delete. And username is plan, bold, one word.
Cap?
No, just P, yeah, cap P.
Did you see if
Hold
Gail
on, no, I think
received
I'm
the email?
That is Jerry.
Okay.
I didn't expect to see him get hip replaced.
Space, cap B. Hey, we gotta save it, you don't just do it like. you gotta
Yeah,
find that
they
port.
usually wait until,
B-O-A-R-D.
yeah,
Charles.
just flip it till they vote, when it's time to vote, and when you get up to present, she generally will flip it, but since this is her first meeting, planning.
Got it all
How you
warmed
doing,
up for you?
Jerry?
Just
Lost track of time.
Oh, wait.
I'm kind of surprised to see you.
Yeah, will you give me 1 moment to?
You bet. Take all the time you need.
The over-under on this is 20 minutes, you know.
Dennison, Bushelman. Correct?
Bushelman, correct.
Okay. And McWilliams. I think we're doing one.
17?
Plan
From when you hit the gavel, or?
Yeah,
is,
when I hit the gavel.
Oh, I see.
No, it's bold, capital A, U-G.
Doing the over-under.
Don't be mad.
I got 20.
I didn't see those plates.
It's from the gavel, though. That's from the
But I
clock
can
side.
go look. Hold on. Let me go look.
Maybe a small beat?
I'll go to the right.
What's the, is it
No, no, that's.
plan board, one word?
Yeah, there's no cap.
There's no cap in it. Oh, get rid of the cap.
Plan board, all lowercase.
Trumper, yeah, he did my wife's knees. Good, yeah.
I've heard that, yeah. I hope he is.
Yeah.
How did she,
You know, she's doing okay. She doesn't have.
Board? One word, all lowercase.
Yeah, you wanna bite one?
Capital A, U-G, O-A,
Big crowd.
just hit
This week. Carlin will pull up first.
Mike, next time sit next to me,
Okay, I'll just, I need to
Next time
project.
sit next to me.
Okay.
You're lucky I can't hear. I still can't hear you, Steve.
Next time sit next to me.
Oh. I don't know what I did.
the password. Were you doing all caps on all this?
No.
Whatever.
You let me
Anyway,
know when
so
you're ready.
Go down to start,
Are you
go
ready,
to
Carlin?
planning commission up here.
Okay.
Come down to plan board. And then you'll get.
Yes, sir.
no.
Oh, and then you just gonna write yes or no. Oh,
The December 7th, 2016 meeting of the Windsor Planning Commission will now come to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Gail Schick,
Present?
Victor Talon,
Here.
Doug Dennison,
Here?
Steve Shuffle,
Here.
Ron Harding,
Here.
Jerry Bushelman,
Here.
Mike McWilliams.
Here.
Thank you.
First agenda item is the review of the agenda itself by the Planning Commission for any addition of items or new business to be added to the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move we accept the agenda as written.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Talon, seconded by Commissioner Harding, that we accept the agenda as presented. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes, those opposed, vote no.
All done?
No. And the motion is approved unanimously.
Sorry?
I mishandled the light.
It's just like, there's a little green light.
Next item is public invited to be heard. If there was anyone in the audience who has an item that is not on tonight's agenda that they wish to present to the commission, now is the time to do so. So I guess you're the public and we got it narrowed down to who we need to talk to, you know? Okay, moving on to the next item, which is the consent calendar. This evening's consent calendar consists of the approval of the minutes of the November 16th, 2016 meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of the November 16th, 2016 meeting.
Second it.
Been moved by Commissioner Towns, second by Commissioner Harding, that we approve the consent calendar as presented. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Yeah. Oh, half a night, you can't.
And the motion carries unanimously. The first and only board action this evening is a preliminary major subdivision for Windshire Park Subdivision 5th filing. Carlin, I guess you got the floor.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission. Substituting for Josh tonight, this is the Windshire Park Subdivision 5th filing, a preliminary major subdivision. This property consists of 38 acres and is zoned a residential mixed use, RMU. The proposed preliminary subdivision is for 117 single-family lots originally, and the proposal before you is for townhome development. The application was reviewed in compliance with the major subdivision criteria, section 17.4.10. This division does comply with the criteria to reconfigure a parcel of land into 6 or more parcels. The property is located west of 15th Street, north of Jacoby Road. It is south of the Public Works facility that you recently saw. This is one of the last portions of the Windshire neighborhood. And again, the property is zoned residential mixed use. It's also surrounded by the same zoning. It's also adjacent to single-family lots that were previously platted. And this shows a comparison between Windshire Park 3rd filing, what was already platted, and then to the right, the proposal. This is just a breakdown of the land uses within the subdivision. I will note that the applicant is here tonight and has a brief presentation to share as well.
Okay.
some of those changes and reasons behind the proposal. The neighborhood meeting, notification for the neighborhood meeting was on October 27th of this year. On October 13th, the applicant filed an affidavit of mailing to the property owners within 300 feet of the property line. And on October 7th, the legal ad was published in the local newspapers. To date, the staff has not received any inquiries or calls on the presentation, or I'm sorry, the proposal. Staff is recommending approval of the preliminary major subdivision as presented, subject to the following condition. All remaining planning commission and staff comments shall be addressed in the final major subdivision application. And I'd like to enter the staff report and the presentation into the record, as well as any comments on the proposal from the applicant. The staff memo, supporting documents, recommendation, and the material before you. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to the applicant,
Okay.
unless you
Okay.
can ask
Dino,
questions
or
of me now or after their
we'll
presentation.
take questions after
Okay.
the applicant's presentation. Dino or Jim, you have presentation?
Just very briefly.
Okay.
I don't know where it
Do
went.
you guys have a?
There it is.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. My name's Jim Birdsall. I'm with the Birdsall Group, and I represent Dino DeTullio in Westward Development, who is the owner and applicant of the property. Just a very quick follow-up to the presentation that Carlin gave. The plan that's in front of you, if you look at the area in the plan that's sort of a triangle-shaped area, and then just to the north of that are the changes. And so what's before you tonight is a replat of a subdivision that had been previously final platted. So we made some changes, have been working with planning and engineering staff to make the changes. And predominantly it's a removal of that collector street on the very west side of that triangle area, and then a reconfiguration of the lots and streets interior and a relocation of the neighborhood park. But really, it's a fairly minimal change from a sort of public impact standpoint. The number of lots changed very minimally, but it's same land use, single-family lots, and the general street layout is very similar. So with that, I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Jim. Any questions from the commission for either staff, Jerry? Or
What's the
applicant?
reason for the change?
So this project has been an ongoing housing development, and it stalled. And the reason it stalled is because the next phase of development is that triangle area. And the construction costs in that area, the amount of street, the park, balanced against the number of lots, basically made that area unfeasible. And so that's why the project stalled, and why we decided to make this change. And I think the other thing too is over the last decade or so, not to bore you with details, but I actually started working on this project in 1999, and so I've got a lot of history with the project, as
You're
the
gonna
town
have to
does.
hurry this up a little bit.
Yeah, really. I had hair, I
Work a little
was
quicker.
skinny, So, yeah, exactly. I started this project before I have kids, and my son's gonna graduate high school this year. So there's a lot of history with this project, and I think over that, almost 2 decades, the transportation view and what's gonna happen to the west of here has changed a little bit. The property to the west is very difficult to get sanitary sewer to, and if you're familiar at all with what Stan Everett's doing with the community garden and the project directly to the west, And so I think the demand for those collector street connections has decreased. And so that north-south collector, I think with staff's input, we basically have decided that that north-south collector is really not needed. Just south of where that map is, the collector street will divert to the west, and we'll be able to connect to that property if it ever develops in urban density. And then Guardian is that S-curve street that runs generally east-west. That's also a collector street. So between the two of those, engineering staff feels comfortable that we've got those transportation connections designed adequately to serve that property to the west. And so that one leg of collector street running north-south is no longer needed. And again, not to bore you with the details, but you know, an unneeded collector street is a burden on the developer, but it also is a long-term burden on the community. It's a street that the community has to maintain. If it's not needed, it's better for everybody if we don't build it. And so that's basically the gist of why we did what we did. So.
Looks like you're eliminating the clubhouse.
I'm sorry?
You're eliminating a clubhouse that was originally there?
It's not a clubhouse, it's a neighborhood park. In the plan to your left, it's a triangle-shaped park. And then in the new plan, it's you know, sort of in the middle right of the triangle area. And it'll have all of the same components, but it has to go through a separate public process through your guys' parks and Parks Department and your Parks Committee. And we've just begun that process now, anticipating that the plat will move forward. So what you see in the plan on the left is a basketball court, park shelter, some playground equipment, et cetera. All of those same program elements will be in the new park. We just haven't had a chance to get that design approved yet.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
So are there townhouses with this project?
Not with this phase of the project.
Okay, I thought you mentioned that there were. Okay.
Yeah, so per Carlin's comment, if you look in the plan, sort of in the lower right, there's a sort of orangish, brownish colored box. That is a townhome project that your commission and the board has seen, I think, in the last few months. So that's a townhome project, but not part of the proposal that's in front of you tonight. So what's in front of you tonight is just single-family detached lots.
Any other questions, comments?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the preliminary major subdivision as presented and following all recommendations of staff.
Second it?
It's been moved by Commissioner Talon, seconded by Commissioner Harding, that we approve the preliminary major subdivision as presented with the one condition noted. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Usually isn't. Yeah, it's not like Severance and Timnath, you know.
600, you guys don't publicize that number. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Communication Planning Commission.
Want to say anything? Nothing.
Nothing? Mr. Talon?
No
Nothing.
communications.
Nothing? Wow. Carlin?
Yes, just wanted to give you a brief update on what's going on with the code update. Then in the next couple of days, actually tomorrow and Friday, Chris Brewster, who you met, the consultant working on the code update, will be interviewing a number of development stakeholders. Jim Birdsall, one of them. Staff won't be involved with the interview, and Chris will be asking a series of questions to get their input on what's working now, what isn't, and ideas for the future code. They are also working on putting together essentially a matrix or an audit of the existing code and showing where there's gaps between the existing code and the comprehensive plan goals and policies. That's all I have on that. Hopefully next time I'll have more information to to give you on that.
Okay. Ken, I didn't mean to skip you, but I skipped you. Any communications? Ken?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Nothing new unless, you or the members of the commission have any questions or comments regarding the mill project.
No? Scott?
No, I don't have anything for the good of the order.
Okay. It was actually 16, and it'll be, by the time we adjourn, it'll be 17, it'll be noted. You okay?
Yes.
That's what I heard about you.
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned, and as noted, it was a 17-minute meeting. Not that we had any bets on it or anything.